The NBN have the problems eased? Is the rollout working better? Past financial year, 167,831 people made complaints to the Telecommunications Industry Ombudsman. That's an increase of 6.2% on the year on year, but it also seems to be tapering off. Your dealings with the telcos, issues with the telcos, we'll get to that in a moment. I last spoke to the Telecommunications Ombudsman in April when a survey had been released showing 1 in 2 Australians had phone or internet issues, 50% of the people effectively. She is with me again. Judi Jones, good morning.
Good morning, Neil.
Fixed?
On its way, I think. The second half of this year, we saw a decline in complaints across the board, and certainly a decline in the rate of complaints about services delivered over the NBN. So that's good news. Still work to be done, though.
And how did that come about? How was that encouraged or created?
Well, there's been a lot of work done by everyone in the delivery chain. So the ACCC did their work on speed monitoring and a lot of enforceable undertakings with providers to improve things. The Minister held his roundtable with the NBN Co and the retailers, encouraging them to work together better. ACMA has introduced some new regulatory mechanisms to improve the provider's own dispute resolution. So a lot of things, and of course the providers themselves. I now hear in industry forums them talking about let's focus on the customer experience. So that's a good sign. Well, yes, but it has in the last quarter of the reporting year. We had about a 17% drop in complaints on the previous quarter at a time when our complaints normally go up. So quite a change.
It's a bit like the banks. They've discovered customers. Do you think telcos have discovered they actually need to keep customers happy as well?
Well, I think they do need to focus on, they've got a fantastic product. We all love it. We want more and more of it. We want it to be better and better. So they need to make sure that they deliver on those expectations.
82,500 complaints about Telstra. Is Telstra the worst or the biggest?
Well, it increased slightly, 7.7, so a slightly greater rate of increase against the national picture of 6.2. So they've got work to do, but they are the biggest. And you've always got to kind of think of it in the context of how many services are they delivering. We
talked in April about 50% of Australians having trouble with phone or internet. What would that figure be now?
Well, I don't know. We haven't redone that survey, but hopefully it's trending down. Not just in complaints to us, but in the actual issues that are being experienced.
The report says 34.1% of complaints were no action or delayed action by a service provider. What does that mean?
Well, that's where the consumer has had the provider say they'll do something and they haven't. So that's really frustrating for consumers. Or in fact, they've not picked up the issue that the consumer's been talking to them about. So we know that's really frustrating for consumers. But in fact, the most common reason for a consumer, whether it's a small business or a residential consumer, to contact us is a problem with the bill.
Okay. And a problem getting the telco to react to that problem?
Sometimes, yeah. But it's really important that consumers know that if they're not getting a response from the provider, they can call our office and we can escalate it within the provider's systems.
Do you have the power for penalties?
Not for penalties, but where I can make binding determinations. So I can also award compensation where there's been direct loss. So we do have strong powers.
Have you done that in the past year?
Oh, yes.
What, significant amounts?
Well, the median amount was only about $400, just over $400. But yes, I've certainly, we've negotiated settlements up to close to $50,000, which is my limit.
9.3% increase in complaints in Victoria, just under 50,000. Why?
Well, it's never one cause. So the variation in states is quite interesting. Some states went up, some states went up more. Queensland actually had the biggest increase. So it might be a pattern of where the NBN is being rolled out. It might be the particular provider operating in that area. So it's hard for us to tell. There wasn't anything we could see in our data that explained that state and territory variation.
There's a couple of sad cases in here, all in the 90s. Luana, her home phone stopped working. What was that case?
Well, I don't know what the root cause of the problem was, but in the end we got it fixed. It's and an interim service, which was most important as a vulnerable consumer.
She had 4 days without phone coverage. They gave her a mobile. And there was no mobile coverage.
No, well, they wanted to give her a mobile, and that wasn't the right answer. So getting some kind of interim service is more important.
Effect on small business that you're identifying?
We know that whether you're a tradie, a hairdresser, or a cafe owner, being connected for your phone and internet is absolutely vital for running your business these days. So the issues were pretty much the same, but we're aware that often the impact is quite fundamental for those small businesses.
So what is the biggest problem you've identified through the year? What is the issue, do you think?
Well, there isn't one. It would be great if we could say, here's the burning platform. If you just fix this, everything will be beautiful. So it is a range of issues. I think it is about more focus on listening to the customer and understanding the issues from the customer's perspective. What are they seeing, hearing, experiencing, and then looking to fix that.
Have you read your mobile phone contract?
Nope.
Not many people have.
No.
We're getting anywhere in simplifying those.
Well, there are other critical information statements that are required, but the evidence shows that providers don't read those. We've got in the habit of just clicking I accept all those privacy statements and terms and conditions online. We don't read them, and we just click I accept.
But do we need to do that? Couldn't we just have a simple version?
We could. I did see a really interesting employment contract that was done in pictures, which seemed to convey the necessary information. So there's certainly lots of innovative ways we could look at to get the information across.
I was always told in business if you can't summarise a memo on one page, then nobody's going to read it.
Well, yeah, and there was some research done about what consumers take away from reading their phone contracts, and it's certainly not what providers expect, and sometimes consumer organisations overestimate what they take out of it too.
Okay, if they are going to be simplified, who does it? How do we do it?
Well, that's for the providers to do, unless...
No, can't we sort of twist their arm a bit?
Well, I mean, if we see that as a particular issue, we can raise it. If it's a systemic issue where things are being overstated, certainly the ACCC has powers to cut out unfair contract terms. So that's a start.
Okay, 96900 693 13 13 32, telecommunications issues, NBN, mobile. Anybody actually read their mobile phone contract? I'd be amazed even if a lawyer would do it. And so, bottom line, are we over the hump with NBN?
Hopefully. I mean, time will tell. But the trend in the second part of the year was really encouraging.
So the problems might have gone.
Well, they might have been being sorted, and when there are issues, they're able to be resolved more quickly. That's the thing. I mean, it'll never be problem-free. It's a physical network, so there will always be problems. But when they arise, you'll need to get them fixed quickly, and the new connections seem to be going a little bit better.
Thank you very much for your time.
My pleasure, Neil.